Welcome to the Human Values Podcast, Episode 9, Doing Good, Feeling Good. My name's Javier Payano. I'm a music teacher and character education expert. And someone who is joining me tonight is the amazing, the wonderful, the lovely Luisa Fernanda. Queen, how are you doing?
Thank you so much, King. Hello, beautiful people. My name is Luisa Fernanda, and I am an integrative nutrition health coach and also a behavior technician. And it is such a pleasure for me to be here with you having this conversation. I'm so excited and eager to get started.
Yay, me too. I love recording podcasts with you, Queen. The last one we did was so great and we got a lot of great feedback. So thanks for joining the team here.
Oh my goodness, it's an honor, truly. Thank you, Javi.
Of course, of course. Well, tonight's conversation is specifically for parents who want better routines at home. But I know it can be challenging, and you get really excited, you start trying something new, and then you fall off, and then all the shame comes back, and that doesn't feel good, so you don't even want to try again. But we're going to try to reframe a couple of things, especially when it comes to building good habits, and of course, building good habits as a family, which is the number one thing we're interested in here as families being closer together. Our motto here is we want to create courageous hearts in 1 million children, and we believe that you, as the parent, are uniquely positioned and qualified to make a big impact in the life of your child. But we know how things go. We know you get the kids from school. You just got to get them fed, bathed, and to sleep, and everything else falls to the wayside. So what we're trying to do here is create resources to make it really, really easy for you to provide education and human values to your children. We'll talk more about what education and human values is in a second if this is your first time listening. But first, let's start off with a grounding exercise. This is something I do with my high school students daily, and it is called the Heart High Five. So all you need to do is take your right hand and you're going to just gently start tapping on your heart space. You can do little taps, you can do little circles, or you can even just hold your hand there. And if you're in public, if you're on the train or something listening to this, just bring your attention to your heart area. This starts to regulate the nervous system, something that we all need more of. And what a beautiful thing we can model for our children so that when those big emotions pop up, they already know one strategy that they can do to feel better. So great job. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, stretch out your arms and legs, stretch in any way that feels good. And so grateful to be together again here. This is something I said, again, I do with my students basically daily. And I love getting comments from students saying like, "Oh, I had a test," or I was getting ready for my baseball game, feeling nervous, did the heart high five, and I always ask, "What did that provide for you?"
Mm.
And the students always say, "It's like, yeah, feeling much more calm, feeling much more relaxed, believing in myself, things like that." So, what one thing, and for me, primarily work with high school students is. We may not always give them credit for the amount of depth, right? But they do have a lot of depth, and they are, I think, much more open to these mental health practices than they might seem. So let's be generous in our introduction of these practices to our children. Luisa Fernanda, I know you work with kids, and I think that you have many regulating activities. There's so many of them, right? And you feel like it has a benefit in their behavior.
Yes, definitely. I think it has such a drastic like impact on their behavior. I had a breath work session not too long ago with this mother.
Yes.
I've been dying to tell you the story. And she came in like a month ago. We had a breath session together. We chatted. I discussed what I do and all that. She was telling me about her children. And then it was like a month went by and she came back and she was like, "Oh, thank you so much for the breath session." And she's like, "And I owe you another thank you because of this one thing that I told her in our last conversation, which was that, just having a calm regulated nervous system as the parent, we can calm the children around us."
Mm, Hmm.
So I was telling her, and she told me that her 4-year-old came into the bedroom, and he was having a little bit of, a hard time. She said he was hyperventilating, and she said, but instead of asking into him, like, what's wrong, what happened, she's like, I paused and I just started breathing loud enough for him to hear me breathe.
Hmm.
And she said that went on for like about a minute and a half. And then he came and he landed on my chest, and he just received, like, just laid there. And then it was like about a minute and a half went by, and he was like, and she was like, and then after that, it was done.
Wow.
And I was like, that's so powerful. That is co-regulation in
Yes.
action. Just being able to sit with the emotion, letting it cry out, and then come back. And then she said that was the quickest that she's ever seen her 4-year-old turn it around. And it's just a beautiful statement to just what breath can do. Then that's,
Yes.
again, one of the tools. There are so many other tools, and it
Yes.
really is about finding what fits your schedule, what's already the closest thing that you can do, instead of trying something completely foreign.
I love that. Um, I often, as a teacher, I get this kind of what do I do with my kid, or what do I say to my kid to make him do XYZ? And one of the biggest tenets of education and human values is that you are the example for the child. So it's like I just always think of that image of the parent being like, calm down," like yelling, "Calm down." It's just like you know, the kid hears your energy before they hear your words.
Mm,
So if we want more peace in the household, as parents, we have a huge opportunity to practice peace within ourselves, and that does have an impact, right? That we say that. The people in a given room, they tune to the dominant frequency
mm,
in the room, right? So if we want to, as a parent, as teacher, as a leader of a group, your frequency matters so much. So how do we institute good habits to make sure that we as leaders in our families, in our classrooms, stay at the highest frequency possible? That's a great question. We're going to get into it. First of all, this isn't about being perfect.
mm,
A lot of us will start a habit and then kind of fall off and come back together, which is why everything I try to do in a group. So if I want to work out, I try to get friends to go work out. If I want to practice human values, well, that's why we created this organization, right? It's like we all gather together and we practice together, especially at our Sunday night meditations on Zoom.
mm,
But yeah, let's dig into um, the habits that we want to promote for our children, that we need to embody those habits. So let's talk a little bit about habits that have helped us. I wanted to share about actually a resource that Luisa Fernanda created for me. This has been the smallest routine that helped me feel like myself again, because I get into those moments where I get extreme doubt
mm,
in myself, doubt in my choices, regretting decisions from the past. I don't know, what the planets are doing up there, but this week has been really, really challenging. There's a lot of ego stuff coming up for me. So what I created on my computer, and every morning when I open my computer and I get ready for class, I have a pop up, a PDF pop up of something that Luisa Fernanda created for me, which is a daily script. And essentially, you could say it's your daily affirmations. It's about a page and a half long. And it just reminded me of the things that I wanted for my life, which is to build community, to work together with teachers and parents and students, to create peaceful classrooms, to build stronger relationships in families, and how my vision is really to bring this work all around the world, to just impact as many families and specifically children as possible. So just reading through that script every day, I really felt it this morning when I read it. It just like again reminding me of who I am, who I want to be. Because I can get very quickly into this place of like, oh, I'm no good, nothing I do matters, I'm a bad teacher, et cetera, et cetera. We all know what that's like. So to have an anchor, something that reminds you of the truth when it's hard to see the truth, is so helpful. So Thank you so much, Luisa Fernanda, for creating that for me. I'm gonna keep using that because it is working. Um, so, how about you? Do you have any like habits or any practices where things that you're building into your routine, or the parent can build into their routine with their kids?
Yes, I feel like I too do a lot of affirmation. I love affirmations and repetitive thoughts. We have so many thoughts in a day, so many negative thoughts. I think it's part of the mind to go into that negative pattern for survival, right? We're always on the lookout. So manually inputting good thoughts into our brains, really sitting in that. And I think maybe if you're not a vision board person where you have like the image, this is a good alternative of reading it every day, or you can record yourself and then just listen to it. And I would really recommend that you listen to it when you're still in bed, like right when you wake up. If it could be the first thing that you listen to, that is a quicker way to get it into your subconscious, because that is where our programming is. Our behaviors are coming out of our subconscious mind. So the more that you can do to connect with that subconscious mind, so either right when you wake up or right before bed in that dreamy like state where you're like, is this, am I awake or am I sleeping? That is the best time to listen to some good affirmations. And there's so many out there, and again, you can just record your own, and it's something that you can incorporate with like a bedtime routine. It doesn't really take much. You could just say, three, or gratitude practice. I have a nighttime gratitude practice, and I think that's a great one to do with kids as well. Like, hey, just one thing you're grateful for today, or something like that. That can be as simple as it is when you're saying goodbye, or at the dinner table, just, hey, we're going to talk about gratitude today and three things that we're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be this big thing. But practicing gratitude, I think, is a big one too. We're expected to just feel these things, no patience, no gratitude, but it isn't like that. It's a day to day. It's noticing. It's being mindful on the things that lit us up.
Yes, all so good, Luisa Fernanda. And you have like one of the highest frequencies of people that I know. You're just like, not that you're always happy every single day, all the time, but you do your best to bring your positive energy to every interaction. And so now I know a little bit about this, your secrets, behind the scenes, your things that you do to, well, I knew
I
about the breath work because that you are a champion of breath work.
I love it. It really has been the biggest tool that has calmed me. But like you were saying earlier, this whole month actually has been really difficult for me. I've had a lot of rage come up, a lot of emotion come up. And one of the things that I have found myself is being outside more. That's another one of the things that I do that anyone can do with their kids. Go outside, put your bare feet on the ground. It doesn't have to be a long time. It can be 5, 10 minutes, or just going on a walk, but putting your feet on the bare, touching Mother Earth, again, returns us to neutral. Again, takes all of this chaotic energy and it just kind of neutralizes it. And it's a lot easier to go from neutral to positive than go from like a negative charge to a positive charge. So just stepping outside, touching nature, if that's something that you can incorporate in your routine, it will feel so much better. It makes me feel so much better, especially during those times of where I have a lot of emotion, a lot of rage coming up, honestly.
Yes. Yeah, and especially as a busy parent, these are things may feel exceptional or luxurious, but you are making sure to keep your energy as positive as possible because when things get stressful, we want to be able to respond to our children rather than react to them because we know children are sponges and they also take things personally, right? If mom and dad are fighting, it's very easy for the child to think it's about them, right? So a lot of this stuff it's not luxurious, it's preventative.
Mm.
We're making sure to keep our energy really good so that we can be responsive to our children. And if we do blow up, it's okay. We can always come back to the child and say, hey, daddy wasn't feeling good. He shouldn't have spoken to you like that. I'm very, very sorry. I'm going to try to make sure that doesn't happen again. So either way, it's all good if we have that ability to really model. Again, we're always wanting to promote the behavior we want our children to adopt instead of saying, stop doing that, stop doing this. Actually show them here's what I want you to do.
Hmm.
Because they want to know. They want to know, how to be good. They want to please you. So we just want to make sure we're setting a good example for them. So good habits are not about control. This isn't about punishing yourself. I know a lot of us grew up in a punitive discipline system, and we're moving towards a restorative discipline system. So any of this is never like, oh no, I didn't do it. Now I'm going to flagellate myself. No, it's like it's okay. The intention and making the goal is so powerful, even if we don't always hit the goal, right? So let's go into the value of the week. This is like the centerpiece of our practice in education and human values. So in education and human values, again, we are promoting the behavior that we want our children to exhibit. So if I want my children to be peaceful, loving, and nonviolent, I need to talk about peace, love, and nonviolence. Makes sense, right? It's one of those things that seems obvious when you speak it out like that, but are we making a systematic, intentional practice? And that sounds like a lot, but that's what we're here for. We're here to make it
Yeah.
easy, and reduce the friction so that human values becomes a natural, normal part of your weekly rhythm with your family. So I just love modeling this because this is exactly how we have on our conversation cards. This is what I do in my classroom. This is what our families do, and whether they do the Sunday night dinner or they do the Sunday meeting. So it sounds like something like this. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad we get to practice this together today. The universal value this week is right action. So, through the lens of right action, we're practicing the sub value of good habits. So, our thought of the week is doing good, feeling good. Let's say
Mm.
that together. 1, 2, ready, go. Doing
Doing
good and
good,
feeling
feeling
good.
good.
So we've been taught that you earn feeling good by suffering or sacrificing, uh, but we're trying to flip the script here. So when you do something good, even something tiny, notice that your body responds. You feel it. That feeling is real and it's available to you right now. This is something that I've been thinking about and reading about a lot. That even this is like with the random acts of kindness that a person who is in a lot of depression is usually focusing on themselves a lot, like so much, like oh everyone hates me, no one likes me, no one would care if I wasn't here tomorrow, etc., etc. It's very me focused. And then look at what happens when we do an act of kindness for someone else. Yeah, we're benefiting that other person, but the good and positive feeling that we feel in a world where a lot of stuff makes us feel worthless, doing something good for someone else really, really improves our mood, our mental health, and our well being. Not only that, but someone else, a third person, witnessing the act of kindness also gets a similar
Mm.
dopamine boost, right? They feel good too. It's like this thing of like, oh, this is a good world. Like, because it's very easy to be like, the world sucks. This sucks. Everything sucks. But we witness these acts of kindness and it really makes an impact on us. So yeah, we're here. We're talking about all of these different ways we can make impact on people by being good. Is there a habit that you have, Luisa Fernanda, of like doing good, being good, doing things for other people, doing things for yourself? How does goodness express itself in the vessel that is Luisa Fernanda?
Oh, I feel like that's all I try to do. I really do. One of the programmings I implement is to be a servant of peace,
Mm,
to the world, and to just show up in loving and kindness and really be a cheerleader for the people that I meet. And I really do see and hold them in the highest vision regard. So when, like, I just imagine them in their highest version and I hold that when I'm engaging with them. And I feel like just that alone, or smiling to people. I do this thing where when I do go out in public, like, I make it a very strong point to look at the person's name tag, say their name, and make
mm,
eye contact with them when I'm making a purchase. and
Mm.
or when someone is doing a service for me, and it is just beautiful to see someone being recognized by their name and just kind of see again just lighting up in their face because they're being seen, or somewhere most of their days maybe no one has even looked at them in the face or said something kind to them. So that
Hmm.
is something that I just, one of my acts of doing good for others, for doing good for me. I do my best to do good for me, which means listening to my signals when I need rest, when I need play, when I need to be more in conversation, just learning what I need when I need more movement. Uh, so just being more attuned to me, and making sure that I am filling my cup, because I know it sounds silly and I know it sounds so just, again, simple, but when you fill your own cup, it's so much easier to love and overflow the people around you. Ultimately, I think that is the biggest act of love that I do, is love myself so hard that I can then just love everyone around me, and just it comes out so juicy. um and I wish that everyone just did that. If we all just loved ourselves so hard, that's it. I think that that would uh, make this world a tremendous place.
Yes. That's a whole word. I can't even begin to start unpacking that, Luisa Fernanda. Like, can I just bring it back to what we're talking about? We're talking about kids. Almost everything that we do to get kids motivated to do what we want them to do is very externally motivated, external motivation. And it usually has to do with um, pride, blame, credit, shame.
Mm,
We're using one of those to hook kids into behaving a certain way. And when they fail, they get the shame, right? From us, whether it's we're consciously doing it or not. So a lot of this is unconscious stuff. This is why we're
mm,
practicing, right? A lot of it is unconscious stuff. So then the child gets into this headspace where it's like, what do I have to do to please mom and dad? What do I have to do to please teacher? And everything becomes extrinsically motivating. How do I please other people? And that, I feel, takes the children on a path away from their true self and their authentic self. And really, what one of these things of like measuring happiness is like being real. It's like doing what you love to do, saying what you really think and feel with the people around you, like that authenticity. It's like that's like the highest frequency on the Hawkins scale, right?
mm-hmm,
Um, so when we're using pride, blame, credit, shame, we are basically teaching kids not to love themselves. Ooh, ooh, I said it. Ooh. You know what I mean? Like we're teaching that, and they're going to reproduce what they learn in their relationship with us and our family. They're going to reproduce that with the other relationships. So they're going to go into that job and they're not going to stand up for themselves because they're just trying to please the boss. They're going to get into that toxic relationship where they're not going to defend themselves. They're just going to do whatever the other person says. And that's not what we want for our children. We want our children to grow up with courageous hearts, to be honest and authentic about what they really think and really feel. And here's the issue: when kids are authentic, it's not something that's comfortable for parents because they're running around, they're saying whatever they want, they're doing whatever they want, and it feels like chaos in the house, right? And we always say is like a noisy house. It's noisy because they're happy, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're jumping, they're running, and for parents, I know that's like so chaotic, right? It's a mess. But that same kid who's screaming and running around, they're going to be such a strong, confident, courageous adult, right? So we want them to be that level of open and free. And then we also want them to have the kindness and compassion. So I think it's very, very valuable when we're saying, how do we teach a child to love themselves? You love them exactly as they are,
mm,
even if they're making a mess or they're too loud or they're too whatever. Like before, what is it? Connection before correction.
mm-hmm,
You know, I have these students in ukulele class. They are in group projects, right? They're picking two songs and they're practicing the songs and they're going to play it at the final. And this one group of boys, they just like found a card game and were playing cards. And so I felt my impulse to be like, you know, you're supposed to be working on your project right now, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, that's not the approach. And I go up to them and I say, hey guys, do you want to do a push-up challenge? And they're like, oh my God, yeah. And we all got on the floor and started doing push-ups. And we had so much fun and a great time and we're laughing. And they're like, keep going, Mr. Payano, you one more, one more. We had a great time, you know? I had that moment of connection. I showed them love. And then after that, I was like, okay, guys, let's get back to our project and make sure you're actually working on your project. It's connection before correction. And that
Hmm.
leaves them, instead of feeling deflated the way I see a lot of kids walking out of class, it leaves them like, wow, like I matter, you know? And if we set that foundation for them by the time they're 35 years old, they're going to have just like full power rock star energy and at the same time be super kind and compassionate because that's what we modeled for them. And so I'm so excited for this conversation, Luisa Fernanda, and all the parents and teachers listening. That hopefully we're having some shifts in the way we think about things, and that, you know, praise and affirmation, it's not just like empty, warm, fuzzy stuff. Like we're actually teaching the kids how to love themselves. And I can't think of a better habit than that, right?
Yes, 100%. And I would also love to say that this is an open conversation. It's not just between me and Hobby. So I would love to know, please share how you practice some self-love. What are some good habits to keep you feeling good so that you can do more good? Please let us know, especially again, as parents, tell us the tips and tricks if you're already doing it so that other parents can have that mirror. And that's what we're here to
Yes,
do, is mirror that to each other.
that's right. It's the collective, right? All of
Mm.
us working together. All of us working together. We're all one. So let's review a few takeaways we want to make sure people leave with. Which number one is to start small. So we're talking about good habits, right? We've mentioned a bunch of them. You know, you can make sure you drink a glass of water when you wake up, 30 seconds of stillness in the morning. Um, let's say what are your phone policies at the dinner table or even while kids are playing. I think I saw one mom who was like, I don't even want to have my phone when the kid's on the playground because any moment they could look at me and I don't want them to see me on their phone. You know, that's not everyone's style. That's totally fine. But just to start thinking about it. So instead of being robotic, we're actually being intentional. Um, Number two, and this one to me is so incredible. In the Atomic Habits by James Clear, he talks about that every time you do a habit, you are voting for the kind of person that you are going to be.
Mm.
So that every time after school, I'm driving home and every time I stop at the gym first and I do my workout, that's a vote for physically healthy Javier. So this is an idea that the habits allow us to change our identity. One thing, you know, if a kid does something quote unquote bad, I hear a lot of parents say it's like, "Hey, we don't do that in the Payano family. This is how we do this." You know, it's about creating identity, and as a family identity, we have a very big opportunity to define our family values, right? This is the identity of our
Mm.
family. This is how we do things. This is how we manage conflict. This is how we keep the place clean so that everyone can enjoy it, etc. Really start thinking about it as like we're building the identity for the child. Making this a family habit is key, working it into a rhythm. So what can we do where it's either, you know, a friend of mine does a gratitude exercise, shout out to Ferris, gratitude exercise while he's changing the diaper, saying like, thank you so much, you're such a wonderful child, you know, or is it you have a family meeting once a week, or maybe you could do a Sunday night dinner with our conversation cards, things like that is how do we work it into the rhythm we're not necessarily wanting parents to add a whole big
No.
thing, an activity to their week. We're just saying, can we, what are we already doing? Like you said, Luisa Fernanda, what are we already doing? And how can we just add a little bit of human values practice onto what we're already doing as a
Yes.
family? And that can make a big change in the emotional climate of our family, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So good.
Find what suits you, what fits best in your schedule. Start, like we said, start small. Really, it
Mm,
is more about the little crumbs that add up. The little droplets make the ocean. So really, just finding the easiest thing that you can
mhm.
think of. If you had anything that stood out to you, like, oh, that one was the easiest. That's probably what's going to be the most. It's just, our brains get these ideas. Just
Yes.
trust yourself, and again, this
Mm,
is just a practice. It's coming back to it. It's not about how many times we fall off. It's about how many times we come back to the habits. It is very common for
mhm.
us to start something and then let it go. And then our brain wants to go back to the old habit. But it is our job to be like, no, that's actually a pattern that I do. I do feel good when I do these things and have these thoughts.
Oh
So
my
I'm going to
God.
choose that actively. So again, just continue to give yourself some grace, some love, and yes, have fun. That is, honestly, that is the most important thing with whatever you do. Have fun, because it feels so good to feel grateful and to have presence and to build these kids who are going to be more resilient than we ever
Mhm,
are, just for being that model to them. So really
mhm,
find the joy in choosing to be a kinder, better human to yourself and
yes.
others.
Luisa Fernanda, every time you talk, I like have three things I want to say to add on to what you're saying.
What
But I'll just say one, the feeling good thing is an interesting thing because it's like, oh, we're not going to feel good all the time. Yeah, no, we're not going to feel good all the time. But we can have the goal to feel good all the time. And if we fail, that's okay. I'm here to stand against this notion that life sucks and everything sucks and we're supposed to be sad. No, we're not doing that. You
Mm-mm.
know, one of the other good habits, shout out to my neighbors over here, to the Pizza and Patio crew. We just had dinner before this, but we were talking about how in our building, they pointed out, my wife and I, Andrea, that we are so neighborly that we say hello to everyone as we pass them. Hello, how you doing? And for me, I was like, I don't know that, give me the Nobel Peace Prize for saying hello to people. But some people, for whatever reason, they've been hurt in the past or whatever, they feel unsafe, whatever it is, it's just like that, there's no human interaction. And I'm here to stand against it. I think we should shoot to be kind, shoot to be
Mm,
neighborly. Yeah, because it's good to do, but also because it feels good. Again, bring it back to the thought of the week. Do good, feel good. Sometimes because it feels good is a good enough reason.
mm.
Let's do good. Let's feel good. So let's close real fast before we get too long in the teeth here. Um, if you had a good time tonight, you enjoyed this conversation, and you are interested in learning about the value of the week, you want to introduce it to your family, but it sounds like a big thing to do. Do I have to pick this stuff? No, you don't have to. You know what? It's already chosen for you. We already have our brand new, starting next month, conversation cards, which are very short, very simple family activities. It has the value of the week, the thought of the week, like we went over, and then some conversation starters.
Mm.
The whole thing can take 10 minutes, but it can make a huge impact in your family life, in the lives of your children. Imagine as the children are, packing up and getting ready to go to college, you feeling so confident that you provided for them everything that they need to help them on their journey. And you also made space to hear what authentically is happening in their lives so that when things happen out in the world, they always know that they could come back to
Mm.
you. I think that's something that every parent wants, that closeness with their child. So that's why we created the conversation cards, again, to make it as easy as possible for you to practice human values with your family. And there's so many other resources, but you can sign up for all of these at humanvaluescollective.org. We'll make sure to link those in the show notes. So just remember, you're not alone. We're all a community practicing together. And that's the point, is that there's a lot of individualistic thing, and even that's not a good habit in my book. Like, let's figure out how do we do these things together. If you're wanting
Yes.
to do this, maybe connect with other parents who, I know a lot of families that, like, they don't go to church anymore, but they miss having this like weekly ritual where they talk about life and they talk about values and they talk about things. So this is something that's been incredibly powerful for all of the teachers and families in our program. So we're just really excited to do this work. Awesome. Luisa Fernanda, that's another episode in the books. How you
Woo!
feeling?
Oh, amazing, amazing. I love this. I'd like to do this always. It's always a pleasure to be here to talk about the human values.
Yes.
And again, it can be so simple. It just starts with a small conversation, a small thought.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
please come back, join us, and listen to the next one. Let us know how it went for you. If you gave it a go, if you have any questions, definitely would love to hear it. Thank you, Javi, for the work that you do. You've been doing this for so long, and I cannot wait for our next talk.
Yeah, you're amazing. Our next talk will be very soon. So I'll end tonight by saying, you've made today an amazing day just by you being you. There's no one like you in the whole world, and I like you
Just
just the way
the way
you
you are.
are. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you next time.